Hello, viewers. I am Mr. Dilip Kumar Pal, stand before you with a topic Pandita Ramabai as critic of Orthodoxes. How Pandita Ramabai has criticized Orthodox practices which were prevalent in Indian society of the ancient times. And this topic, Pandita Ramabai's critics on orthodoxies of ancient India, was found in the paper 14, which is Modern Indian Political Thought of 6th semester. And I want to inform my viewer that you may search my channel in Google, and the channel number is @Dilip Kumar Pal 9375. If you will write this channel name in Google, more than 400 videos will be available which relate with plus 2 first year political science, plus 2 second year political science, plus 3 first semester political science honors to plus 3 sixth semester political science honors, and some videos which are related with the environmental studies of plus 3 first semester, which is common for arts, commerce and science students. And I want to inform my viewers that if you have subscribed my channel, it is all right, so that you will get the benefit. And those of your friends who are in above classes, aware them about this channel, because by this a lot of students will be benefited, and a single help to anybody. Remember, the help will not go in vain. The help will come back to you in future in any form. So don't expect for the gain. It must be our motto to help some people. Let us start. Pandita Ramabai's critics to orthodoxies or old traditional practices of Indian society. Pandita Ramabai, who was born in the year 1858 and died in the year 1922, whose father name was Ananta Shastri Dongre and mother name was Lakshmibai Dongre, was a great crusader of social evils of traditional Indian society in general and traditional practices relating to disrespectful status to women in India in particular. Pandita Ramabai, who was born in the year 1858 and died in the year 1922, whose father name was Ananta Shastri Dongre and mother name was Lakshmibai Dongre, was a great crusader of social evils of ancient India in general and disrespectful status to women in ancient India in particular. She devoted her entire life in fighting against social evils and inhuman treatment given to Indian women in ancient Indian society through forming various organizations and for women and highlighting in her various books. She devoted her entire life for the development of women, and she carried out his she carried out her work for the women through some organizations and through her some precious books. She criticized orthodox practices in the Indian society in following ways. In the traditional Indian society or in the ancient Indian society, there were some bad traditional practices relating to especially women. So in the traditional Indian society or in ancient India, there were various bad traditional practices relating to women. So Pandit Ramabai criticized those traditional inhuman practices relating to women. It is known as her critique to orthodoxies. So, what was the first inhumanitarian practice relating to women? Number one, prevalence of dowry system. At the time, there was prevalent of dowry system. There was prevalence of dowry system where women were considered as a mean to bring more property to in-laws family through dowry. Ramabai considered it as an evil practice and disrespect to women. In the traditional Indian society or in the ancient India, there was prevalence of dowry system, on the basis of which women at the time of marriage will have to carry a lot of precious things to their in-laws house. And if with the precious things brought by women to their in-laws house, if the members of their in-laws house were not satisfied, women were given different type of inhuman treatment. So women were considered as a mean to bring more property to in-laws family through dowry. So women were considered as a mean to bring property to the in-laws house. And Ramabai considered it as an evil practice and disrespect to women. Ramabai considered it as an inhumanitarian practice. And he criticized this old orthodox principle of ancient India. Number two, prevention of women to have education. Women were prevented to have education and were forced to remain within four walls of the house and only confined with the role of housewife, mother, and an instrument to serve family members. In the ancient India, there was prevention of women to have education. Women were prevented to have education. They were forced to confine within the four walls of the house and they were forced to perform the role of housewife, mother, and an instrument to serve members of family. Girls of high caste society hesitated to have education with a fear to lose their caste. Girls of high caste society hesitated to have education with the fear of losing their caste. Ramabai protested strongly against this practice and demanded for girls' education. So, in the traditional Indian society or in the ancient Indian society, girls were prevented to have education. So, Ramabai demanded for the education of women, and he regarded that if women will be prevented to have education, it will be a disrespect to women. Number three, prevalence of child marriage. There was prevalence of child marriage where girls were given marriage before puberty. In the traditional Indian society, there was prevalence of child marriage where girls were given marriage before puberty and before maturity. They were considered as commodities can be gifted by father. Girls were forced to perform all household works in their tender age, 9 years to 10 years, as a training for future women to manage households works, which was criticized as a inhuman practice by Ramabai. Another orthodox principle, bad orthodox principle, which was prevalent in the ancient India, was the prevalence of child marriage. At the time, girls were given marriage at an early age. They were given marriage before puberty, before maturity. And girls were considered as a gift of father to be given as a commodity to in-laws' house. And girls, small girls at the age of 9 to 10 years were engaged in household works so that they will get the training and they will manage the house as a women in future. And Pandit Ramabai regard it as an inhuman practice. Then the fourth orthodox principle of traditional Indian society was the prevalence of polygamy. There was prevalence of polygamy where a husband can have more than one woman. Ramabai regarded it as a disrespect to women. In the traditional Indian society, there was prevalence of polygamy, means a man can have more than one wife. So Ramabai considered it as a disrespect to women, and he demanded for the abolition of polygamy. Fifth one, prevalence of patriarchy. Patriarchy means where male member is the head, elderly male member is the head of the family. At that time, prevalence of patriarchy. At that time, there was patriarchy system where head of the male member or the elderly male member were controlling family members and women were under rigorous control, having totally no freedoms, to which Ramabai regarded as a curseful life for women. In the traditional Indian society, there was prevalence of patriarchy system. In the system, the elderly male member was controlling other family members. In that system, women were under rigorous restrictions. They had no freedoms. So Ramabai regarded it as a inhuman practice, and he strongly demanded for the abolition of the patriarchy system. Sixth one, subordinate role to women. Subordinate role to women. At that time, women were given subordinate role. They were given a secondary role in the family. They were subordinate to their father in childhood, husband in youthhood, son in old age, to which Ramabai regarded as inhumanitarian idea. In the traditional Indian society, women were given a secondary role. They were not considered as human beings. They were given a secondary role. They will have to subordinate to their father in childhood, husband in the youthhood, their son in the old age. To which Ramabai protested, and she wanted to give equal role to women with men. Then, system of Sobhagyavati. On the basis of the system, that women, on the basis of the system, that women was treated as Sobhagyavati or blessed women whose husband was alive or had a son or some children. Otherwise, they were tortured. Ramabai protested against this system. In the ancient Indian society, there was prevalence of Sobhagyavati or blessed woman. So, who will be a Sobhagyavati or blessed woman? That woman will be a Sobhagyavati or blessed woman whose husband is alive, or he must have a son, or he must have some children. Otherwise, any woman whose husband was dead, or who had no children, or who had no son, they were inhumanly treated. So, Pandita Ramabai raised her strong voice against the system of Sobhagyavati. Then, inhumanitarian treatment to widows. Widows were inhumanly treated in the past. How? Widows were forced to wear plain borderless sari, use no ornaments, take a little food, shave their head and cover it, sleep on floor, perform only ritual works, etc. Ramabai regarded it as an inhuman practice. In the ancient India, widows were inhumanly treated. They were forced to use plain borderless sari. They were forced not to use ornaments, shave their head, shave, clean their head and cover it, take a little food, perform ritual works and sleep on floor. Widows were inhumanly treated. So Ramabai protested against this inhumanitarian practice. 9. Prevalence of widow remarriage. Prevention of widow remarriage. Widows were prevented to have remarriage, to remarry. Widows were prevented from remarriage with the belief that marriage is a bond where husband and wife will be her next birth. Also, it was regarded as a wrong idea by Ramabai. So, another old inhuman practice in the ancient India was the prevention of widow remarriage. Widows were prevented to remarry with the belief that after the marriage, the husband and wife will be also husband and wife for the next birth. So widows were prevented to remarry. So Ramabai regarded it as a superstition and he demanded for the remarriage of widows. Then prevention of intercaste marriage. At the time there was restriction on intercaste marriage. There was provision of social ostracism. It was also regarded as social evil by Ramabai. In ancient India, there was prevention of intercaste marriage. If there were intercaste marriages, those who were carrying out intercaste marriages, they were ostracized from the society. So, Ramabai regarded prevention of intercaste marriage as a bad practice. Then, prevalence of caste system. In the ancient India, there was prevalence of caste system. It was believed that the creator Lord Brahma created Brahmins from his mouth, Kshatriyas from his arms, Vaisyas from his thigh, and Sudras from foot. It must be the duty of Sudra to serve rest of classes. Ramabai did not agree with it. In the ancient India, there was caste system. It was believed that Lord Brahma, creator of the universe, created 4 types of castes. Brahma created Brahmins from mouth, Kshatriya from arms, Vaisya from thigh, and Sudra from foot. And it is mentioned that it was the duty of Sudra to serve people of the rest of classes. So some people were treated as superior and some people were treated as inferior. Ramabai did not agree with it. Then, no property right to widow in their husband's property. Widows had no property right in their husband's property. So, they were leading a very pathetic life. So, Ramabai strongly criticized the system. At the time, widows were not given property rights in the property of their husbands. So, by this, they were leading a very pathetic life. So, Ramabai criticized this practice and she demanded to give widow property rights in their husband's property. And in this video we have discussed criticisms of Pandita Ramabai to various orthodox principles, bad human practices of the ancient India. So here, some points to be noted here. Ramabai birth date was 23rd April 1858. Her death date was 5th April 1922. Title Pandita and Ramabai was given by Calcutta University in 1878 and the title Kaisar-e-Hind was given by British government. And Ramabai's husband name was Bipin Bihari Medhavi, Medhvi, and her daughter name was Monorama. So I request my viewers to watch this whiteboard and write down notes. And if you listen me also attentively, you will be able to write down notes. Thank you, my viewers. If you want my videos in Google, you can write in Google at the rate Dilip Kumar Pal 9375, or if you will search me in YouTube, just write my name and name of the topic. You'll get both Odia video and English video. I request my viewers to make best use of this channel. Waiting for your reply. Thank you. Have a good day.